Welcome back, Swag Team. It's your boy, the Swagologist, back again with another TV review, and today we are doing The Mandalorian. Back at it again with the second episode, The Child, Chapter 2, The Child. Now, if you haven't seen Chapter 2, The Child of The Mandalorian, make sure you go to your Disney Plus, watch it, and come back. Or, if you've seen only Chapter 1 and you want to see what my thoughts are about that and those tasty spoilers, check out right here where we did a deep dive into that. But also, like I said, if you haven't seen the second episode, make sure you go check it out because we're about to do a deep dive right now. So without further ado, let's get it. This episode starts off with our boy Mando, and he's walking along this like canyon area with his new little bounty, the baby Yoda is what they're calling him, the species of Yoda that's very, very young, but is 50 years old, and their species age works differently. So he's 50 years old, but he's a little baby. So I still think he's 5 months. Y'all never told me in the comment section in the other video whether the math between 50 and 5 months, but I'm feeling like this baby's 5 months. But anyways, they're going along the canyon, and I love the way this shot is shot. Like the opening scene, I love the way it's shot. Finally get to see that battle that you see a little bit of in the trailer between him and the boss type aliens. I love how it's shot. They come down, but I love how it's shot because you can see them. You see them once in the big screen, right? Like the big frame shot. You see them running across. Then the next way you see them running across is if you're looking inside the Beskar armor of his helmet on the Mandalorian. You can see it in the white on this. They run across, then they just pop down, and he battles them. And you find out once he takes them out with that. Oh, and we finally get to see more badassery from his weapon he carries on his back. It's not only like electric weapon that we constantly keep seeing through episode 1 and with that battle in episode 2. We see when one of the boss type creatures goes to attack Baby Yoda, he takes that weapon and just boom, pow, blow, like incinerates dude. Dude just incinerates instantly. I was like, wow, this weapon is awesome. I love it. It's like a incinerating sniper rifle with electric power so far. I wonder if it can do anything else, but what it can do is just it blows the bowcaster out of the water with that ability. That was dope. I was like, man, that thing is fire. Get to see more badassery from that weapon. After we see the badassery from that killer Mando weapon, after he incinerates one of those boss guys, right? First of all, the Mandalorian logo pops up, of course. Then we see him trying to repair one of his wounds or whatever, and we notice that the Yoda baby is like looking at it, and he keeps getting out of the carriage, and he keeps reaching out. And I was like, okay, he's got the Force. But can the Force heal? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, that would be lit if the Force could heal, but this baby knows that, and Yoda didn't even do anything like that, because I don't ever remember Yoda healing someone, but it looked like that baby was trying to heal the Mandalorian, which would be very, very interesting and a new thing in the Star Wars lore that we haven't seen yet. So that was interesting. But the baby kept reaching up, looking like it was trying to do something, but every time it would get the chance to do it, Mando would just pick him up and put him back in his little egg carriage thing, right? Kept putting him back in there. So I was like, oh, I wanted to see what happens, because remember in the first review, episode 1, I was like, Yoda, the little Yoda baby, or the species of Yoda, I think are all Force sensitive, just because we're 2 for 2 with him and Yaddle in the Jedi Council. I think both of them, because of both of them so happen to be Force sensitive, I was assuming that more than likely, all of that species is just real Force sensitive. And sure enough, I think at this point, it definitely gave me, like, I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, it's got to be Force sensitive, but can it heal? What is it about to do? That's what I really want to know. What was this baby about to do at this situation? But the Mandalorian, not knowing what their baby was doing and having to take care of it, puts it back in its thing. So then we go down. We find out that Mando's ship is being stolen from by Jawas. There's Jawas on this planet, and they're taking all of his parts and stuff from his ship and taking it, for themselves, of course. So this more hilarity ensues, like, because the Mandalorian is perfect for Star Wars humor. Like, everything, this is like really, like, people that are really feeling this is more Star Wars, but they don't realize is this is still all under the Disney Star Wars banner. So this is not like not Disney Star Wars or something and only Lucasfilm. This is also under Disney, and Kathleen Kennedy is in the credits for this movie as an executive producer. So one of the producers or whatever. So don't sleep on the fact that Disney, trust Jon Favreau, of course, Lion King, Jungle Book, Iron Man 1 and 2. This man knows what he's doing. Disney knows what they're doing. So we should stop comparing these to the sequels and give Disney some love for this. But anyways, I digress on that. That's a whole different thing on a whole different day. Doesn't really matter right now. What matters is how beautiful this show is. Like, the creatures in here look really cool. I thought it was interesting that the Jawas have a different eye color on this planet versus on Tatooine or whatever. They had yellow eyes. But yeah, we see that they are stealing from the Mando's ship. So our boy decides to start taking them out with the incinerator rifle that I was talking about, the Mando weapon, and start blasting them like bow, 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 just incinerate. So more antics ensue where now the Mando is trying to get his pieces from the Jawas, trying to take them. So this episode already is way more action packed than the first episode, but the first episode had to get us in the world, dive us into the Mandalorian. Now we got a lot more action going on, a lot more stakes happening because everybody's trying to take the baby from him, and now they're taking his ship, so he's stuck on the planet. So he's trying to get his stuff back. So he gets on their because they got this big moving skyscraper type ship. Reminds me a lot of the moving cities and Mortal Engines. And they're driving away, but he's not having it. So the Mando's on their tail trying to get them, and they're dropping stuff on his head off the ship and hitting him with stuff. So then he finally gets to the top, and all of them got weapons hot, and they just blast him, but they blast him with like electric stun weapons, and they stun him, and then he just falls off the thing and just hits the ground and just bow. So when he hits the ground, Baby Yoda comes up because he has this the Mando has this thing on his armor that he can control the baby's little carriage unit thing, the little egg thing that it's in, the Baby Yoda's egg thing. So he brings him over, and they go back to the ship. So when they go back to the ship, he finds out they stole all his weapons. They took everything. They took his weapons, and they took a whole lot of the ship to make it unfunctional. He tries to lift off of it, and neither one of the jet engines are working. So now he's stuck. They leave the ship, and they go and find Mr. I Have Spoken. My man, my friend. I think they call him, I think his name is Coolio, or Cooley or something like that. But either way, I like Mr. I Have Spoken. So we go find him, and he's like, oh, so this was what the fuss is all about, talking about the Yoda species, the new Yoda species, the baby. And he's like, I think it's a child. And then dude's like, aren't you gonna take him back or whatever? He's like, I can't. My ship's destroyed. And then Mr. Outspoken's like, it's only stripped, not destroyed. I'll take you to trade with the Jawas. He's like, I'm not trading with the Jawas. Are you nuts? He's like, well, then you're not going anywhere. You're not getting your parts back. He's like, all right, fine. So then they go to see the Jawas, and the Jawas no, Mr. Outspoken's telling him to put his weapons away, but he's like, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are my religion. So like being a weapon is like a religion. Not putting my weapons down, especially for the Jawas. Are you out of your mind? But he's like, if you don't, you're not getting your stuff back. And he should have hit him with, I spoke. Because once he say that, it's raps. Like, if you say that, then, you gotta do what's happening. He's like, because I think he actually said that before they was going. He was like, I'm gonna take you to the Jawas, and you're gonna get your stuff back. I have spoken. Done, deal, sealed and delivered. So, they go, like I said, they go meet up. He tells them to put his weapons down. He says it's like a religion. Dude's like, well, you're not getting your stuff back. So then he ends up putting that sick blaster rifle, sniper rifle, that he has. He puts that down. And a center rifle is what I'm going to call that thing right now. He puts the center rifle down. And then he's like, the blaster too, because he has a blaster on his hip. He's like, settles for that. And then we have some more good Star Wars humor up in this situation because the Jawas are trying to get everything they're not supposed to have from him. And then he's like, I'm not trading nothing with y'all. It's mine. Then he tries to talk a Jawa, and then they say, you have terrible Jawa. You do a terrible Jawa. You sound like a Wookiee or whatever. And they was like, he's like, oh really? And then he tried to blast him with the flames. I love Mandalorian has that similar hard thing, the shoot first type situation. You know what I'm saying? I love that about Mando. He does not care. He will take you out if you're in the way type thing, which I do like about him. He still has a certain kind of fondness for this baby, and I think it's mostly because he can relate because he's a foundling, and I feel like similar situation happened to him that happened to this baby. And I think we'll learn that later on throughout the series. So after negotiations keep going because they asked for the Beskar skill. That was a no. I meant the Beskar steal. That was a no go because if you remember from the first episode, that means a whole lot to the Mandalorian. So that was a no go. Then they asked for the Baby Yoda. That wouldn't happen. It's like, get away from it. So then Mr. Outspoken's like, could there be anything else? So then they come down to deciding on this egg. They're like, the egg at Jawa, whatever. I forgot how I said it, Jaguar, because Jawa I was going to remember, but I forgot. So the Jawas are like, the egg, right? So now we finally get to see what this creature was in the trailer, because when he goes down in this murky cave. This is kind of like the horror element that sometimes in Star Wars. Goes in this murky cave, turns the light on, flick around to find the egg, and it's like, doo-doo. Eye opens, and it's getting real. So then he's like, pew, pew, pew. All you hear is blaster fire from inside, and you see the blaster fire light up the cave, and you see the Baby Yoda out there because, like I said, he has this little thing, part of his armor, that he can control the Yoda baby's movements and move him in and out. So he's always near, but he can set it to where it stays a certain amount of distance before he can call it to come, right? We hear a pew, pew, pew. Then all of a sudden we see the Mando get flown out of the cave, hits the ground, and we finally see that big muddy rhinoceros type alien creature come out of the cave. And once the Mando hits the ground, you see that he already screwed up his chest armor because he didn't have Beskar right here. He only has it on his helmet and on his shoulder right here. So then he's on the ground. He gets out the incinerator rifle. We're like, oh, I wonder if he can incinerate the entire thing, this entire rhinoceros. But sadly, we wouldn't get to see this because of the way he landed. It jammed the weapon, so he couldn't reload. And then the creature knocks him again. So this battle continues. He's fighting it, but he's not really winning. He hits it with the flamethrower, the arm thrower, the arm flamethrower. He hits it with that. Didn't affect. And it looks like Mando is gonna take this L and be knocked out and not get this egg. But he has a last ditch attempt with his side knife and he's holding it out. But we keep looking at the Yoda baby, and it's time, baby. It's time, because sure enough, I wish they would have cued the Star Wars theme right here, because, or the Yoda theme or something, but it's not Yoda. This baby's not Yoda. So, by the way, if you don't know, that baby's not Yoda, because Yoda has already passed away by this time. This is a new creature in that species. But anyways, he puts his little hand out in his adorable cuteness and just stops the creature in his tracks with the Force. And my man Mando's like, what? He can't believe what's going on, which is interesting. And we'll get into that in a few seconds, but about that interesting. But yes, sure enough, the baby Yoda can use the Force, which is lit. So I was hoping there was going to be Force use in the Mando, and it is. The Mandalorian has Force users, and so far is this cute little baby Yoda, and it was awesome. So he freezes the creature in his tracks, lifts it off the ground, and then, of course, because the Force is such a powerful energy, it knocks the baby out and puts it to sleep. And then our hero Mandalorian has to stab the creature to kill it and knock it out. So he gets the killing blow thanks to the help of Yoda, knocks him out. Then he retrieves the egg, and then we go back to the Jawas, and he gets the egg to the Jawas. The Jawas only wanted the egg to eat out of. Like, really, Jawas? Really? But anyways, that's what they do with it. So he gets his stuff back. Him and Mr. I have spoken fix the ship with his stuff because he decides to help him out. Then my man Mando tries to offer him a job, but he's like, he just thanks the Mandalorian for helping him bring peace to his land, and also the reason he doesn't take the job is like one of a crew member, because he was the Mando was gonna pay him, but as a crew member is because he's worked his whole life to not work in servitude. So he used to be a servant to someone apparently, and now he's free and he just wants to stay free. So they offer each other thanks. I really still hope that we end up seeing Nick Nolte's I Have Spoken guy again. I hope we see this character again and again. I love this character. He is awesome and he has spoken. So after that, they get on the ship. They're heading out. And the baby still hasn't gotten up. Oh, and then like on the way back from giving the egg before they fix the ship, he's talking to him. The I Have Spoken guy talks to him and is like, what happened again? And he's like, I'm not sure that I can, like, I still not sure what happened. And then the Mando's like, I'm not sure either. So I'm guessing the Mandalorian has grew up never seeing the Force. Maybe he's heard the stories of what's happening or whatever, but he also may not he also may not be able to comprehend or know that it can come from as little as a baby, you know. And I just really feel like that species is strong with the Force, so I think that's part of it. But it was very interesting to see that the Mandalorian had no clue that the Force was coming from a baby or has seen the Force. So that's interesting. I wonder why that is, why he's never seen the Force. Maybe he's heard the stories, but he's never seen it up close, so he doesn't really believe it. Kind of like how Han was when he first found out about, you know, the Jedi and whatnot like that. So that's my review on episode 2, The Child, chapter 2 of The Mandalorian. I really enjoyed it. It picks up with a lot of action. I really like introduction of the Force powers by the baby Yoda, so that was cool. I can't wait to see episode 2 and to see how many people was on this. Was it really just the Mando, or they really sent all these people out to do this job because they expected them to die? Or are they trying to kill the Mandalorian and the baby now? What's going on? I can't wait to find out because they're flying off, and I think they're going to see the dude that sent them on the job and find out what's going on and who's setting up who and all that good stuff. So I'm curious to see what's happening next. I'm also curious to see, will the Baby Yoda be part of Mando's crew? Is he gonna grow up with the Mando, or is he gonna give him away? More more to find out coming soon. I can't wait till the 22nd for the next episode. If you're new here and you're trying to join the Swag team, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below or hit it right here when it pops up on the side. Also, if you want to be the first of the Swag team to see a video when it pops up on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification bell. It only pops up when you join the Swag team, so make sure you hit that so you don't miss out on any of the swag when it pops up on the channel. Also, if you like this review, make sure you give the video a big thumbs up. It helps with the channel. But if you didn't like it, I ain't tripping. Look at Jordan, I ain't pimping. Also, we have a Facebook, a Twitter, and an IG. The Facebook is the same as the channel, The Swagologist, but you can also hit me up on Twitter on IG at SwagologistD. That is at SwagologistD. Hit me up on any of those social media sites. We can talk all things SwagU, all things Swagologist, and all things The Mandalorian. So make sure you do that so we can have this conversation, because I want to hear your thoughts on The Mandalorian, The Child, Chapter 2, and I also would like to hear your thoughts on Chapter 1, like I said in the other video. So make sure you jump in those comment sections and on those social media sites so we can talk some Star Wars and speculate on what we think is going to happen in Chapter 3. But until the next video, I love y'all 3000. I'll holla. Peace.